Hello friends, this is Yusuf here. So in this video we are going to see the RPGLE programming in a structured manner. Okay, so we have been making videos here and there about RPGLE programming, but this video we're going to align things further. Okay, so here is the overview of this particular video. So this video is like concentrated for the absolute beginners. So if you are very new to the RPGLE and then you're just getting started, then you will find this video very useful, hopefully. Okay, so here is what we're going to cover in this video. Okay, in general, what are the variables and data types we have in RPGLE, and usual conditional statements, the syntax in RPGLE for if else select statements. Okay, and then some of the looping statements, and we'll go a little further on how do we define subroutines and then calling the other programs, and also reading files. So with all said, let's get started. Okay, so here I logged into Pub 400. So if you are very new to the this IBMI domain or so-called AS400, okay, so we have this pub400.com is a free public server for everyone access. So I have a separate video on that, how to get a login, not to get a login. Basically now we have anonymous profiles using which we can log in. Okay, so I'll give a link in the description box so that you can check how to get the profile and then how to get this software to get started. Okay, so once you are in, right, so this is our IBMI server. So here we're going to write the programs into the members. So before that we need to create a library, but we cannot create a library in pub400 because they are already given to us. So for me, I got a library called dev.us1. So this is my library, so you can see it's type library. So inside the library we need to create the source member. So the source member is the one which will hold all the sources. Okay, so I'm going to say create srcpf. So this is the command to create a source physical file. Okay, and then if you take F4, so I'm going to say qrpglesrc1 because I already have a qrpglesrc. So qrpglesrc1, so it's going to be in my library. And if you are writing RPGLE, so make sure you are giving the source pf length 112. Okay, because it will give us the actual width to use the RPGLE steps. Okay, so with all said, let's enter. So now it has created source pf. So now we're gonna go inside. So work member pdm. Okay, if you take F4, you can give qrpglesrc1 we have just created, and then dev.us1 is going to be our library. So this is the source pf. So currently it's empty, so you can think this is a folder also, kind of stuff. Okay, and here we'll create the program sources, and then we'll compile and run. So the first and foremost, everyone will say hello world program. So let's get started. So I'm going to take F6. So F6 is the command to create a particular source member. So here is the screen for that. So we're going to say it's going to be my first program. So I'm going to say first, and it's RPGLE. Okay, enter. So now you got a screen. This is actually called SEU. Okay, it's SEU editor. So it has its own way of editing it. So it's not like our notepad. Okay, so if you unknowingly press an enter, okay, it will be gone. So now you will be thinking, how do we insert a line? Okay, so for that you have to press I so that it will give you a new line. Okay, so now I'm going to press H. Okay, so here in RPGLE all are kind of column specific things. Okay, unless we go into the free format. Okay, so here we're going to learn a couple of head specifications, I would say. So this is the list of basic specifications. So H is for the header specification, which we will give the header level specifications. We'll get into that later. And F is for the file specifications. If you have any database file or a display file, we will define it there. And D is actually for the declaration specification. So here is what we will declare. Okay, the variables, the data structures, okay, and other prototypes, those stuff. And finally C is the one for do the calculation specification, which we will write the code on it. So until RPG4 we will use the C specification. And if you go into the free format, so what we can do is actually after the C, right, we can press /free and then end -free. So once you define free and end free, whatever inside you can just type your code in the free format. So this is a basic definition. Okay, now it's time to say our hello world. So I'm just going to say DSPLY hello word. Here is the point. So in free format you have to end everything with a semicolon, okay, and all the programs should end. So star INLR equal to star on, okay. So we call this as a LR indicator, okay, and if you switch on the LR indicator, then the compiler knows the program is ending. So in this for this program we don't really need these things, so I'm going to get rid of it. And file is the command to save what you have done. We also have a save command which will just like save the intermediate state, but file is something like save and exit, okay. So here is our program, so we're going to compile it. So for compiling, how to take 14, you can also see it somewhere here, yeah, 14 for compilation, okay. Normally the whoever coming in beginners, right, they'll just 14 and then enter, and then it will just create. But since I want to give more information, you always good practice to take F4, okay. So because we'll come to know under which library it's going to create the object. So if you are in a production environment, maybe, right, sometimes the default library would have been pointed to a production library, then if you press enter, you are unknowingly creating the object in production. So always take F4 for creating the anything on the server, okay. So here it is taking my library, so I'm just giving it as it is, and then I'm going to say enter. Just created. So you can see the program is created, now available. So work object, so the program is actually an object, okay. So work object FARST first. So if you give this command, right, it will give me the program which we have just created, and it says it's a PGM type object and it's available in my library, those steps, okay. Now I want to call the program, so that is the opcode or command called call, and we can give a library name and then the program name, enter. This will work as expected. So here is your first hello world program in RPGLE. So it's just starting, we'll get into further from now. Okay, so what do we have first? So we have variables and data types. Okay, in any programming languages, right, variables are important stuff, or the very fundamental stuff, and data types are something like our integer, float, boolean and character. So these four data types are actually the primitive data types, which is available in, as a base data type for all the programming languages. So here also we have that. So before I go on, right, so there is a fully free RPGLE code, but I'm not going to do that because even I have not much experience on that, because this particular CU editor is not supported with that fully free RPGLE syntax, okay. Anyway, so we're going to take the partial free format, which means all the calculation specification we'll do in free format, but all the declaration specification we'll do in fully free format. So now I need to have things right. So let me say I'm trying to get this copy above one copy after and copy. Okay, I got it. So now this star is for actually the command section, okay. So this column is there, right. So here if you put a star, then that line becomes comment, okay. So now what I'm going to say here, D. So as I said, D is actually a declaration specification in which we can declare the variables. So now if you take F4, as I said, it's a column separated format, okay. So you can give the name of your variable, and then you can give further things. Let me explain one by one. So first of all, I'm going to say num1. So and here you can press yes. So S means it's a standalone variable, which means it's just a variable, okay. And then it can give the length to it. So for example, I want a 5-digit number, and then the data type. So the data type for the number, we have a couple of data types. So I'm going to use S. S is for zoned decimal, and here the decimal position is 0. I'll tell why. So here first let's look into few things, okay. If you take a F4, right, one good thing about the server is wherever you have doubt, you can press F1 and then you can see the list of values. So here you can see, right, so we have DS for data structure, C for constant, PI and PR, and these are all the possible values we can have in this particular field called type, okay. So what we have just created, we have created a variable called number1, which we said it's a standalone variable, and also the declaration is actually 5S0, so which means it's a 5-digit long without any decimal portion. So if you recall correctly, right, so I have said 4 basic data types, okay, integers, floats, booleans and characters. So in RPGLE, the floats also can be handled by the the decimal data types. Okay, you can give the decimal position here, say for example 2, then it says that we have a 5-digit number, but the last 2 digits actually the decimal position, which means maximum it can hold 999.99. okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. But we do also have a data type called float, but we don't normally use it in the RPGLE program, but we may use it when we are trying to interact with Java and those high level stuffs. Okay, so now few things. So RP, you can repeat the same line. Okay, I'm going to repeat it 4 times. I'll tell why. So I'm going to have 4 variables, 2 3 4. Okay, and I'm going to say 5s0 here, 5p0 here, 5i0 here, 5u0 here. So these are actually the kind of different numeric data types we have. This is zoned decimal, packed decimal, integers, and unsigned integers. Okay, so mostly we'll be dealing with these 2 steps. We won't be going much, but it's good to know these things. Okay, so what is the difference between these 2 and these 2? Okay, if you go for SRP, right, so whatever you are defining here is actually the length, which means I say 5-digit number, so which means it will hold maximum of this much. Okay, since I said decimal position 0, it will hold this much. Okay, the same occurs in this case also, but here it is different. So internally, operating system wise, these are different based on the way it stores inside the memory. Okay, so we don't need to go till that level, but just to get understanding, right? So if you are defining anything with SRP, you can get to know that much decimal positions on that much length of the number. But if you declare with IRU, it will be different. So I have something. Okay, here is what I want to cover. Okay, so the integer, right? So we have just declared something like 5i0. Okay, we cannot declare a 4i0 or a 6i0. Okay, that is because here is the documentation for that. Okay, so the number which we specify is actually the number of digits. You can see, right? So we have the only options 3, 5, 10, 20, and even if you say 3i0 or a 5i0, we will go up to this much number. So you cannot go like until like what we have seen here, right? 9999. So we cannot go like that for these 2 data types. Okay, so okay, enough of these things. So let's get started. So these are the type of numeric data types we have, and then let me put a space. Okay. So we also have strings. So I say string. Okay, and it's a standard variable of type maybe 20a. So a is the data type which we can we can use it for defining a string. We don't have anything like a character. Okay, so if we declare this with 1a, it becomes characters. Okay, in some languages we have a character data type and string data type. So here we have only alphanumeric a. Okay, and then we also have like boolean. So I won't say boolean, it's actually indicator. So it's called 1n. Okay, n is the type which we will use for indicator. And once we have defined a variable with type as n, you can define inside the program something like that variable is equal to star on, or that variable is equal to 1, both the same, and that variable is equal to star off. Okay, or you can give 0, whatever. Okay, so this works in this way. Okay, so string. So strings are nothing but just like that. So you have string is equals to 5. Okay, so yeah, so we learned those steps. Okay, so enough of the declaration. So let's write some code. So in our this thing we have what? Okay, so we're gonna learn the condition statements. Okay, so hope we have covered variables and data types, and we will use the variables and data types in the further concepts. So we'll get you into it. So yeah, the basic conditional statement we have in RPGLE is like if and else, and also the switch case, or it's called a select statement. So what I'm going to get rid of these steps. Okay, and then I'm going to say here num1 is equals to 19. Okay, and if the num1 is greater than 18, okay, I'm going to print is major, else display minor. Okay, so it is a syntax for if else. So you can see that each lines are ending with semicolons, and RPGLE is not a case sensitive. You can even give else or you can give else, doesn't matter, but just for good looking purpose I'm just giving a camel case things here. Okay, so here is why how the if and else will work fine. So if you have multiple these things, so we can have also else if else. Okay, it works like this. So it shows error because if has to come with the condition, right? So num1 is less than 50. I can handle whatever you want here. So by the way, this double slash is actually the command inside the calculation specification in free format, so you can have your own commands. Okay, so with all this being said, if you want to run this, let's try to run this file 14. It print major because the number 19 is greater than 18. Okay, cool. So you can see I have just called the program by giving C, so that is also one of the method you can call the program. Okay, yeah, that's it. So now hope you understand if else syntax probably. Now we go for the select statement. So let me get rid of these stuff. So let us do the same thing with select statement. So here is what the syntax: select is the one, and end SL is the starting and ending portion, and inside all the conditions should be handled with the keyword when. So when num1 is greater than 18, say for example, the code will go something like this: display. Okay, and you can put many when you want. Okay, less than 50, and you can declare whatever the code you want, and we also have others. Okay, so this is actually for the default one. It goes like that. So if I just compile, sorry, it's not others. Okay, now we got an error. I think it's a good way to show how to see your compilation. Okay, how to see the errors. So now we compiled it and we got an error. Okay, what is the error? So what happens, like whenever you compile a program, there will be a report generated about the program. So if you type work job, okay, and then type 4 with spool files, you will be seeing the report here. Okay, we call this as a spool file in this RPGLE or in the IBM IE stuff. So I'm going to give 5 and then go inside, come to the bottom, you can see this is the level severity of 30 errors. So if you go up, you will be saying, okay, the name or indicator is not defined. It says RNF 7030. If you copy this and then search for this, you are seeing the line number. So line number 17, we have said the name others is not defined. Okay, so that is because actual as per the syntax. So we have to we would have given this as other, not others. Okay, so what it thought like others is actually a variable, so and it said there is no variable called others, so it showed an error. So now it should resolve our issue. Major, hello world, here we go. Okay, so now let's go to the looping statements. Here we have for loop, while loop and do while loop. Okay, so let me quickly go through. So I think we are taking a long time. Okay, let me get rid of all these stuffs, and even I don't want these guys. Okay. M for moving. Okay, so here first we are going to see for loop. So what is syntax? So for, okay, and then the variable name, you can have num1 is equals to 1. So this is actually the initialization. Okay, to 5, say for example, and then semicolon, end for. So inside you can type display num1. That's it. So if I just go compile and run, you're seeing 1 2 3 4. Okay, so what if I want to print only the even numbers between 1 to 10? So I'll go here and I'll say from 2, I'll start with 2, I know, because 2 is an even number, until 10. I give by 2. This is actually the increment. Okay, if we compile and run, I'll get 24680. Okay, now what if I want to print this in reverse order? We cannot use for loop here. Okay, that's where the while loop comes into picture. Okay, so let me get rid of this, and then okay, here I'm going to say num1 is equal to 10. It is my initialization. I'm going to say do w. Okay, do while num1 is actually greater than 0. Okay, so if the number is greater than 0, it will come inside. So end do to end the loop. So inside I'm going to say display num1, and then num1 minus equal to 2. Okay, so this is actually the regular way of giving num1 is equal to num1 minus 2. So it is a short form for that. With all this set, let us run this again. Okay, 10 8 6 4. It is pretty much to it. And we also have okay, do while and while is same, so it will be do until. Okay, sorry. So we also have a do until loop, and the thing will just change like this. So instead of you put you. That's it. Do until this. Okay. Anyway, so that's it for the looping constraint. Let's learn about subroutines. So subroutines are nothing but you can split your code into separate blocks of code, and then you can assign a name for that, and then you can call that particular routine many times you want. So in our case, okay, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So here, so in any part of your code, maybe, okay, so it is my code block. So I'm going to say BEGSR, so begin subroutine. Okay, so SUB1, and end subroutine to end the subroutine. So here I'm going to say display inside subroutine 1. Okay, so I'm going to say here, after everything is done, EXSR, execute subroutine. Okay, SUB1. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are executing subroutine, and it will call this particular code block, and that's it. So file, compile, so we get wow, what a beauty. So that is the reason why do until works. So the do until will run the block at least once, and then look for the condition. In our case, we said num1 is greater than 0, so until num1 is greater than 0 it will run, but ideally number 1 is already greater than 0, but it will still execute the loop only one time, and then it will exit anyway. So then this particular piece executed, and we have seen the result here. Okay, display inside subroutine 1. Okay, so we have covered that portion also. The next one is actually the calling other programs. Okay, so it is an interesting portion. So let me quickly create another program. Okay, I'm going to call second RPGLE. So quickly, inside second PGL. Okay, so this is our second program, so I'm compiling it. Done. So here I want to call. Okay, so calling the program is actually straightforward in RPG4 until RPG4, which means without free format. Okay, so what I mean is, so we'll be having this calculation specification generally. Okay, if you take F4, you can give the opcode call, and it will ask you for the program name. You can give in the single quotes, and that's it. So this will pretty much call the program. But if you are going to write it in the free format, okay, so that is something like this. So you need to call like second. Okay, you have to use the call p command and second. But the point is, in order to use this call p keyword, we should declare this program as a procedure. Okay, so how do you do that? So here up in this section, second is going to be a procedure name. You can even give second PGM, whatever you want. Okay, here you can give PR for procedure, and here you will say this keyword ext PGM. So it's going to be external program, and the actual program name is second. So it is the syntax for this. Okay, so since we have given here second PGM, so we should also change this to second PGM. Okay, so if you want to use the same name, you can even give the same name here. Okay, so now we are calling the program, one with the normal calculation specification, one inside the split format. Let's see this in action. Compiled. So I'm calling, so inside second PGM, so it is from the calculation specification. We press enter, inside second PGM again, so this is from the free format, and our remaining stuffs also executing. Okay, so finally we have reading files. So I'm not going to cover these reading files in this video because I already have a separate video explaining this concept in detail. Okay, I'll give the link in the description box below so that you can watch that video as well. Okay, so now we have pretty much covered the basics of RBGLE. Maybe I'll be having a part 2 and explain some of the different or interesting advanced concepts. Okay, so now while making this video, right, something strike in mind, so let me explain those steps, like how to get the parameters from the in the program. Okay, how to pass the parameters basically, and some things related to strings or the characters. Okay, first thing is parameters. So here you go. So for taking parameter, right, I'm going to say in the C spec, take F4, and then you can give up opcode called entry, star entry. Okay, and if you press enter, sorry, here entry plist. Okay, so this is the syntax for getting parameter, and once we defined a star entry plist, we can start giving the parameter name actually with the keyword param. If I press enter, it is actually checking the syntax and then telling me what is I'm missing. Okay, so I'm very lazy, so I will use this. So here I'm going to say num1. So we are going to get the num1 from the input. Okay, so what else? So like this you can get the parameters, so that when you call the program you can even actually give these parameters. So maybe I'll change it to string. Okay, and then here I'm just displaying the string. Okay, let's see how this works. Okay, so I'm going to say call. Okay, first with parameter my name. So you can see the Yusuf is printed because we are just receiving the variable and we are printing it, and then the remaining steps. Okay, now say for example I'm going to pass my name and it should say hello Yusuf. Okay, so here we get the variable name here, and then instead of displaying string I'm going to say hello plus string. So here you will get an error. It's not an error actually. So the display command expects only one argument, so to cover this with a single basis it will work. Okay, so let's see what happens now. I'm going to call it the same thing. I get hello Yusuf. So plus is something we'll use to concatenate the strings, but when we're concatenating the string, right, you have to be a little bit careful. I'll explain why. Say for example I have the string variable here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, let us assume like this. I'm going to say string is equals to string plus hello. Okay, and then I'm displaying the string. What do you think will be the output? So let us rethink what we have done. We have declared a string as a variable of 20 length, and then we are getting the variable from the users as the parameter. Okay, and then we are just adding a hello at the end, and then we are trying to display. So you would have guessed something. Let's see that answer is coming or not. It's compiled, so I'm going to call the program. See, we got only Yusuf. What happened to the hello? Okay, hello is not there. That is because, okay, let me show you how to find it. I'm gonna compile the program again, F10, paste down. I'm gonna give here and say list, and then compile. So now I have compiled the program with list mode, list debug mode. Okay, so that strdbg dev1 first take F4. You can give this as yes, but ideally in this case we do not want to give because we don't use any databases. Okay, F10 and then call. Where is our calling? Yeah, so now this will open you in the debug mode. Okay, press F10 to go inside. Oh, okay, yeah. So here we already sent the variable, so you can see the hello Yusuf is there, but look at the blank space here. Okay, because when we assign a string, a very value to the string, right, it maintains the blank spaces. Now it will hold only 20 character, and it is already filled up with 20 characters. So whatever you add to the right, it won't be added into the string. So that is why the string is still containing only Yusuf. Okay, so how to fix this? So there are a couple of approaches, right? One, obviously someone will think function called trim. Okay, so here instead of string I can say trim string. So this will get rid of the trailing spaces and leading spaces, and then we can have add. If we compile, you can call, you will get hello Yusuf. Okay, there is another method. Okay, so I'll tell you what. You can define the string with a keyword called varying. When you see varying, right, what the compiler or the system will understand, okay, this variable can hold maximum of 20 but not at all the time. Okay, so in this case ideally we do not need this thing, and I can just say string is equals to string plus hello. Let's see what happens now. We call the program, we still okay, my mistake. Okay, when we define a string with varying, the program which is calling this particular or which is passing the value also should have defined the variable with varying, but unfortunately we have called from command prompt, and so that it passes as a fixed string. So anyway, to demonstrate that, I'm just going to delete these two lines. Let me go to edit mode and then delete these two steps. Okay, and I'm going to assign the value inside the program. So now, right, this string is actually type varying because I'm assigning inside my particular program, and the program is defined the string with varying. So now if you add a hello, it should be able to add because it understands that this particular variable is of type varying. Okay, so if you call it, you will be seeing hello Yusuf. Okay, anyway, this is pretty much what I want to cover in this video, and I hope this would have given the beginners to the RPGLE world kind of basic knowledge about the programming. Yeah, so I'll see you in the next video with another concept. Thanks for watching.